I never thought I'd be writing this, but I'm at a loss and could use some outside perspective. I'm Ellie, 28F, and I've always prided myself on being the responsible one in my family. Growing up, I was the straight-A student, the one who never caused trouble, and the daughter my parents could always count on. But now, I'm questioning everything I thought I knew about my role in our family. My younger brother, Jack, 17M, came into our lives when I was 11. I remember the day my parents sat me down to tell me I was going to be a big sister. They were so excited, but I felt conflicted. I was used to being an only child, and suddenly, I was going to have to share my parents' attention. Looking back, I think that moment set the tone for my relationship with Jack. Our parents, Tom, 65M, and Diana, 63F, had Jack later in life. They were already in their late 40s when he was born, and I think they saw him as their second chance at parenting. They'd always been strict with me, pushing me to excel in everything I did. But with Jack, they were more relaxed, more indulgent. As Jack grew up, I was busy with my own life. I threw myself into my studies, determined to get into a good college and make something of myself. I babysat Jack occasionally, but we never really bonded. He was just this kid who lived in my house, always wanting to play when I was trying to study or hang out with my friends. I left for college when Jack was 6, and after that, our interactions became even more limited. I'd come home for holidays and see him for a few days, but we never really talked about anything meaningful. I was too focused on my own life, my classes, my internships, and later, my career. After college, I landed a job at a marketing firm in the city, about an hour away from my hometown. I threw myself into work, climbing the corporate ladder and building a life for myself. I'd visit home every few months, but those visits were mostly spent catching up with my parents. Jack was always around, but he was usually glued to his phone or video games. I heard bits and pieces about Jack's life from our parents. They mentioned he was struggling in school, that he had trouble making friends. I remember feeling a twinge of concern, but I always pushed it aside. I told myself it wasn't my responsibility to fix Jack's problems. He had our parents for that. Last month, everything changed. It was a Tuesday night, and I had just gotten home from a long day at work. I was looking forward to a quiet evening with a glass of wine and my favorite TV show when I heard frantic knocking at my door. To my surprise, it was Jack, looking disheveled and panicked. I let him in, and he immediately started rambling about needing a place to stay. He was sweating, his eyes darting around nervously. I asked him what was going on, and he spun a tale about some guys from school harassing him. He claimed they'd been following him and that he was scared to go home. At first, I felt sympathetic. I offered him my guest room and told him he could stay for a few days. I even called our parents to let them know Jack was with me, saying he needed some space. They seemed worried but grateful that he was safe. The next day, I took off work to spend time with Jack and try to understand the situation better. We talked, and he opened up about feeling overwhelmed at school and struggling to fit in. He told me about the pressure he felt to live up to the family name, to be as successful as his big sister. I felt a pang of guilt hearing this. Had my success somehow contributed to Jack's struggles? But things took a turn on the third day. I came home early from work and found Jack rummaging through my bedroom. He was going through my dresser drawers, and when I confronted him, I saw cash in his hands, money I had been saving for a trip to Europe I'd been planning for years. I was furious. I demanded an explanation, and that's when the truth came out. There were no bullies. Jack had been using drugs for months, and he'd run out of money to buy more. He came to me hoping to steal enough cash to get his next fix. I was shocked and disappointed. I told Jack he needed to leave immediately and that I was going to tell our parents everything. He begged me not to, promising he'd quit on his own, but I knew it was beyond that point. I drove Jack home that night and sat down with our parents. I told them everything Jack had confessed to me. They were devastated, but grateful I had brought it to their attention. They immediately started making plans to get Jack into a rehabilitation program. Now, I'm torn. Part of me feels like I did the right thing by telling our parents and getting Jack the help he needs. But another part of me wonders if I should have tried to help him myself first. Maybe if I had been a better sister over the years, things wouldn't have gotten this bad. I can't help but think about all the times I brushed off family gatherings or didn't return Jack's occasional texts. Was I too focused on my own life? Should I have paid more attention to the signs that something was wrong? I remember a specific incident from last Thanksgiving. Jack had tried to talk to me about some trouble he was having at school. I was distracted, checking work emails on my phone, and I brushed him off, telling him to just study harder. Now I wonder, was that a cry for help that I ignored? Our parents are dealing with this as best they can, but I can see the strain it's putting on them. They're in their 60s now, and this isn't how they imagined spending their retirement years. Dad's health hasn't been great lately. He had a minor heart attack last year, and I'm worried about how this stress might affect him. Mom called me yesterday, crying. She blames herself for not noticing something was wrong sooner. She talked about how she and Dad had always been so proud of me, always bragging about my accomplishments to their friends. She wonders if they inadvertently made Jack feel like he could never measure up. Jack is now in a 30-day inpatient program. Our parents call me with updates, but I haven't visited him yet. I'm not sure if he wants to see me after I exposed his secret. Part of me is angry at him for lying and trying to steal from me, but another part feels sorry for him and the struggles he must have been going through. I'm also worried about the long-term consequences of this. Will Jack be able to finish high school? How will this affect his future college and job prospects? I know addiction is a disease, but I can't help feeling frustrated that he chose to start using drugs in the first place. This whole situation has made me realize how little I know about my brother's life. I don't know his friends, his hobbies, or even his favorite subjects in school. I've been so wrapped up in my own world that I've completely neglected my role as a big sister. I'm trying to be more supportive now, offering to help our parents however I can. But I can't shake the feeling that it's too little, too late. Should I have done more? Was I right to tell our parents immediately, or should I have tried to handle it on my own first? I guess what I'm really asking is, am I a bad sister for not being more involved in Jack's life earlier? And did I make the right choice in how I handled this situation? I'm struggling with guilt and uncertainty, and I could really use some outside perspective on this whole mess. Update 1, it's been about 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone who took the time to respond and offer advice. Your words really helped me gain perspective on the situation. After much consideration, I decided to take a more active role in Jack's recovery process. When he completed his 30-day inpatient program, I was there with our parents to pick him up. The reunion was tense at first. Jack wouldn't meet my eyes, and I could tell he was still angry about me telling our parents. But as we drove home, the ice slowly began to thaw. Over dinner that night, Jack finally opened up about what led him to drugs. It turns out he's been dealing with severe anxiety and depression for years, but he never told anyone. He started using to self-medicate and escape from the pressure he felt to live up to the family's expectations. Hearing this broke my heart. I realized how little I truly knew about my brother's struggles. Jack told us about a particularly tough time during his freshman year of high school. He had tried out for the basketball team, hoping to follow in our dad's footsteps. Dad had been a star player in his day. Jack didn't make the cut, and he felt like he had let everyone down. That was when a classmate first offered him pills to take the edge off. Jack said he initially refused, but after weeks of feeling like a failure, he gave in. In an effort to make amends and be more present, I've been visiting our parents' house every weekend. Jack and I have started having one-on-one talks, trying to rebuild our relationship from the ground up. It's been challenging at times. There's a lot of hurt and misunderstanding to work through on both sides. One particularly difficult conversation happened about 3 weeks ago. Jack confessed that part of the reason he never reached out to me was because he felt intimidated by my success. He saw me as this perfect older sister who had it all together, and he was afraid of disappointing me. I had no idea he felt this way, and it made me realize how my distance might have contributed to his struggles. We talked about our childhood, and I was surprised to learn how Jack had perceived things. He told me about times when he'd overheard our parents comparing us, always holding me up as the example to follow. I hadn't realized how much pressure that had put on him. It made me think about how I had always seen Jack as the favored child, getting away with things I never could. It was eye-opening to see how differently we had experienced our family dynamic. On the positive side, Jack has been committed to his recovery. He's attending outpatient therapy 3 times a week and has joined a support group for teens dealing with addiction. Our parents have also started family therapy sessions, which I've been participating in when I can. These therapy sessions have been revealing. We've uncovered patterns of communication, or lack thereof, that have been hurting our family for years. Mom tends to avoid conflict, often sweeping issues under the rug. Dad, on the other hand, can be overly critical, especially when it comes to academics and career choices. Jack and I both admitted to feeling like we could never quite meet his standards. There have been some challenging moments. Last week, Jack had a close call with relapse. One of his old friends contacted him, trying to convince him to use again. Jack was tempted, but he called me instead. We talked for hours that night, and I'm proud to say he stayed strong and didn't give in. It was the first time Jack had really reached out to me for help, and it felt like a turning point in our relationship. As for me, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection. I've realized that my hands-off approach to family wasn't just about the age gap or being busy with work. I was avoiding deeper issues, like the pressure I felt to be the perfect child and my fear of confronting family problems. I've started seeing a therapist of my own to work through these issues. My therapist has helped me see how my drive for success was partly fueled by a need for our parents' approval. I've always felt like I had to be the responsible one, the one who had everything figured out. It's been liberating to admit that I don't have all the answers, that I'm still figuring things out too. Our parents are doing their best to navigate this new reality. They've been educating themselves about addiction and recovery, trying to find the balance between supporting Jack and maintaining necessary boundaries. It's been hard on them, especially our mom, who blames herself for not noticing Jack's struggles earlier. Dad has been struggling with his own guilt. He admitted in a family therapy session that he had noticed Jack seemed down a few months ago, but he had chalked it up to typical teenage moodiness. He regrets not digging deeper, not asking Jack what was really going on. Jack's school has been surprisingly supportive. They've worked out a plan for him to complete his coursework from home for now, with a goal of having him return to regular classes next semester. His guidance counselor has been instrumental in coordinating with his teachers and therapists to ensure he doesn't fall behind. I know we have a long road ahead of us. Rebuilding trust and healing as a family won't happen overnight. But for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful about our future as siblings and as a family. I'm committed to being there for Jack in a way I wasn't before, while also taking care of my own mental health. Thank you again to everyone who offered advice and shared their own experiences. Your support has meant more than you know. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some significant developments in our family situation. Jack has made remarkable progress in his recovery. He's been clean for 8 months now and has fully re-engaged with school. He's even joined the school's peer counseling program, using his experience to help other students who might be struggling with similar issues. Our relationship has grown stronger than I ever thought possible. We now have a standing weekly dinner date where we catch up on each other's lives. It's amazing how much I've learned about my brother in these past months, his dreams, his fears, his quirky sense of humor that I never knew existed. Jack has started opening up more about his interests. He's passionate about music and has been teaching himself guitar. I never knew he was musical. It turns out he's been writing songs for years but was always too embarrassed to share them. Last week, he played one for me, and I was blown away by his talent. However, not everything has been smooth sailing. About 2 months ago, we hit a major bump in the road. Jack discovered that our parents had been reading his text messages and monitoring his internet usage without his knowledge. They claimed they were just trying to keep him safe, but Jack felt betrayed and violated. This led to a huge family argument. Jack was furious, our parents were defensive, and I found myself caught in the middle. It was a tense few weeks, with Jack barely speaking to our parents and spending most of his time at my place. During this time, I had to step up and mediate between Jack and our parents. It was challenging to balance supporting Jack's need for privacy and independence with our parents' understandable concerns about his recovery. We had several family meetings, some of which got pretty heated. One particularly intense discussion centered around a party Jack had been invited to. Our parents didn't want him to go, fearing he might be tempted to use again. Jack argued that he needed to learn to navigate social situations without drugs. I could see both sides, and it took a lot of talking to reach a compromise. Eventually, we were able to reach a compromise. Our parents agreed to stop monitoring Jack's communications and to trust him more. In return, Jack agreed to be more open about his activities and the people he's spending time with. We also set up a system where Jack checks in with a family member once a day, just to touch base. This experience taught me a lot about the complexities of trust and communication in families dealing with addiction recovery. It's not always a linear process, and there are bound to be setbacks and disagreements along the way. On a personal note, I've continued with my own therapy and have made some significant breakthroughs. I've come to terms with a lot of the guilt I was carrying about not being there for Jack earlier. I've also been working on setting healthier boundaries in all my relationships, not just with my family. Jack is now looking forward to his high school graduation next month. He's been accepted to a local community college and plans to study psychology. He talks about wanting to become a counselor for teens dealing with addiction, using his own experience to help others. Our parents are doing better too. They've joined a support group for parents of recovering addicts, which has been incredibly helpful for them. They're learning to balance their concern for Jack with respect for his growing independence. As for me, this whole experience has led me to reevaluate my career path. I'm considering going back to school to become a social worker, focusing on family counseling. I want to use what I've learned through this journey to help other families navigate similar challenges. While we still have our ups and downs, I'm amazed at how far we've come as a family. The communication, understanding between us have improved tremendously. We're not perfect, but we're learning and growing together. Thank you all for your continued support and advice throughout this journey. It's been invaluable in helping me navigate these challenging times. Update 3. It's been a year since my original post, and I wanted to provide one final update on our family's journey. Jack graduated high school last summer and has just completed his first semester at community college. I'm incredibly proud to say he made the dean's list. He's thriving in his psychology classes and has even started volunteering at a local youth center, mentoring teens who are struggling with substance abuse. The road hasn't always been easy. Jack had a minor slip-up about 4 months ago when the stress of starting college got to him. He called me in tears, admitting he'd taken a pill at a party. But instead of spiraling back into addiction, he reached out for help immediately. We got through it together, and it actually ended up strengthening our bond. Our family dynamic has continued to evolve. We've had our share of disagreements and tense moments, but we've also developed much healthier ways of communicating and resolving conflicts. Family therapy has been a crucial part of this process, giving us tools to express our feelings and needs more effectively. One significant change has been in how we handle family gatherings. In the past, these events were often tense, with everyone walking on eggshells. Now, we've learned to be more open and honest with each other. Last Thanksgiving, instead of pretending everything was perfect, we each shared something we were struggling with. It was a powerful moment of connection for all of us. I've made some big changes in my own life too. I quit my corporate job and have started taking classes towards a degree in social work. It's been challenging to go back to school while working part-time, but I've never felt more fulfilled. My experiences with Jack have given me a passion for helping families navigate addiction and recovery. Our parents have grown a lot too. They've become active in addiction awareness programs in our community, sharing their experiences to help other families. It's been healing for them to turn their pain into something positive. Dad, in particular, has really stepped up. He's been working on expressing his emotions more openly and has even started a support group for fathers of recovering addicts at his church. Last month, we celebrated Jack's 1-year sobriety anniversary as a family. It was a powerful moment, reflecting on how far we've all come. Jack gave a speech that left us all in tears, thanking us for our support and expressing how grateful he is for a second chance. He talked about how he used to feel like he was living in my shadow, but now he feels like he's forging his own path. While we know that recovery is an ongoing process and there may be challenges ahead, we face them now as a united family. The distance that once existed between us has been replaced by a bond stronger than I ever thought possible. Jack and I have started a new tradition of taking a weekend trip together every few months. Our last trip was a camping adventure where we spent hours around the campfire, talking about our hopes and fears for the future. It's still surreal to me sometimes, how close we've become. This journey has taught me so much about love, forgiveness, and the importance of family. I'm grateful for the chance to rebuild my relationship with Jack and to discover the kind of sister I want to be. I've learned that it's never too late to change, to grow, to become closer to the people who matter most. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with us. Your support and advice have been invaluable. While this will be my final update, I want you all to know that your kindness and wisdom have made a real difference in our lives. We're still taking it one day at a time, but we're doing it together, and that makes all the difference.